The Karcsi Identity. Written, directed, and performed in 13 episodes by Jesse Rowe. The Prologue. Forested Beginnings. Karcsi lived deep in the snowy forest with his father. Their home a small cabin nestled amongst the towering pines and blanketed by snow for most of the year. It was far removed from the world. Despite the isolation, their life was rich and self-sustaining. They tended a little farm that thrived in the brief, bright summers, producing apples and pears. In the autumn, their crops shifted to pumpkins and turnips. Carrots often featured in their breakfast meals, whilst hunting provided the bulk of their lunch and dinner, with deer being a frequent target. Karcsi had developed a strong preference for deer meat, though he sometimes wished for a more variety in his diet. The forest that surrounded their cabin was ancient, its towering trees bearing witness to centuries of seasons passing. Karcsi's father, a stern yet loving man, was determined to prepare him for any challenge the world might throw their way. He taught Karcsi several languages, ensuring he could communicate in various tongues. Physical training was a daily routine. They spent hours practicing backflips, honing karate skills, and engaging in strenuous mountain climbing expeditions. These activities sculpted Karcsi into a fit and agile young man, his body honed to peak physical condition. One frigid morning, as the sun barely peeked over the horizon, Karcsi and his father set out for their daily hunt. The forest was silent, save for the crunch of snow underfoot and the occasional rustle of wildlife. They moved with practiced stealth, communicating through hand signals honed over years of hunting together. Suddenly a rustling in the bushes caught their attention. Karcsi's heart raced as he prepared his bow, the tension of the hunt, a familiar yet thrilling sensation. Without warning, a deer bolted from the underbrush, darting through the trees with a speed that challenged even the most seasoned hunters. Karcsi and his father gave chase, their movements synchronized and fluid. The chase led them deeper into the forest than they usually ventured, the terrain becoming increasingly rugged and treacherous. As they sprinted, Karcsi's mind raced, calculating the deer's likely path and how best to intercept it. The chase intensified, each stride bringing them closer to their prey. Suddenly the deer veered sharply, bounding up a steep incline. Karcsi followed, his breath coming in sharp bursts, the cold air burning his lungs. His father was right behind him, their years of training evident in every movement. Just as the deer reached the crest of the hill, Karcsi nocked an arrow and let it fly. The shot was true, and the deer stumbled, then fell. Panting heavily, Karcsi approached the downed deer. His father clapped a hand on his shoulder, a rare smile of pride crossing his face. They quickly and efficiently dressed the deer, preparing to bring it back to the cabin. The chase had taken longer than expected, and the sun was already beginning to set. As they made their way back, the forest around them grew darker, the shadows lengthening and the temperature dropping. Karcsi was alert, his senses attuned to the environment. They moved quickly but cautiously, aware that the forest could be as dangerous as it was beautiful. Suddenly, a distant howl echoed through the trees. Wolves. Karcsi's father quickened his pace, and Karcsi followed suit, their burden making the journey more challenging. The howls grew closer, and Karcsi's heart pounded with a mix of fear and adrenaline. He could hear the rustling of paws in the snow, the pack closing in. They were almost at the cabin when the wolves appeared, their eyes glowing in the twilight. Karcsi and his father dropped the deer and drew their knives, shimmering in the moonlight, ready to defend themselves. The wolves circled, growling and snapping, their hunger driving them forward. In a blur of motion, the wolves attacked. Karcsi fought with a precision born of years of training, his movement fluid and controlled. His father was a whirlwind of lethal efficiency, each strike delivering a fatal blow. The fight was fierce, the air filled with the sound of snarling and the clash of knives against fur and bone. Finally, the last wolf fell, and the forest fell silent once more. Exhausted but victorious, Karcsi and his father retrieved the deer and made their way inside the cabin. Inside, though, the warmth of the fire and the familiar sounds brought a sense of relief. They quickly set about preparing a meal. The rich scent of cooking venison filled the air. As they ate, the adrenaline slowly faded, replaced by a deep sense of accomplishment. Later, Karcsi lay in bed. He reflected on the day's events. Life in the forest was demanding and often dangerous, but it was also so deeply rewarding. He understood why his father pushed him so hard, teaching him the skills necessary to survive in such harsh environments. Karcsi was grateful for the lessons, knowing they had saved their lives many more times than just today.